Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to our special show and tell pop-up series, Early Childhood Innovation for Impact in a Crisis. My name is Kylie Burke. I'm the Senior Advisor with Promise Venture Studio and a lifelong early childhood educator and advocate. Today's event is part of a series that we're hosting that supports Promise's mission of catalyzing innovation and impact in early childhood. Show and Tell is designed to shine a spotlight on some of the innovative work taking place across the early childhood community. While the world battles COVID-19, we know that families are under an unprecedented level of stress. Thankfully, there are companies and organizations across the country that are stepping up to provide assistance and offer much needed support to families with young children. Ready4K is one of those amazing organizations. Today's event is designed to facilitate connections. So let's get started with our conversation with Ben York. Ben is the founder of Ready4K and the CEO of Parent Powered Public Benefit Corporation, the creator of Ready4K. Prior to starting Parent Powered, Ben spent nearly a decade at Stanford researching technological innovations in education, and right now he is home with a very little one himself. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Kylie. It's such a pleasure to be here. And I have to say that I'm just so thankful for the work that you and Promise Venture Studio are doing to support families and children right now, as frankly, we need all the support we can get to manage the chaos of multiple jobs while trying to be good parents, which is, of course, to say nothing of the 33 million Americans who lost their jobs and are facing unspeakable challenges. One quick programming note, please forgive me if you hear baby Ellie squeaking in the background as she's still a little sore from her shots this week.
Oh. Well, it will be a welcome distraction. Yes, I feel like we should all always say, if our children make an appearance, that's just sort of is what it is right now. So Ben, we know that differences in early learning experiences at home can impact the development of skills that are critical for success in school and beyond. And this can create barriers to success that are particularly impactful for children living in economically disadvantaged circumstances. Families need support, they need access to information to help their children succeed. Ready4K is an evidence-based family engagement curriculum delivered to families via text message. It's used by preschools, school districts, Head Starts, community-based organizations across the country. So here's how it works. Each week, families receive facts and easy tips on how to promote their children's development by building on really typical family routines using common household objects like counting the forks as you set the table or pointing out your child's positive characteristics while you look in the mirror in the morning and brush hair getting ready for the day. The Ready4K curriculum covers all areas of development and learning from birth all the way through 4th grade and is available in English, Spanish, and Arabic. Right now, as schools across the country are closed, we know that families need these kinds of supports more than ever. Ready4K was already perfectly positioned for this moment. It's not overwhelming to families to implement. We know that families are already overwhelmed. So having something that's simple and easy to implement was really key. It doesn't require internet access or a computer or a tablet or any special classroom-like materials. It's using everything found in the home already. So Ben, I know when this crisis hit, your team quickly shifted focus to getting Ready4K into the hands of as many families as you could. Can you briefly describe that effort and tell us how it's going?
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. First, thanks for the wonderful overview of the program. You're making my job very easy, which is always appreciated. The response to our COVID-19 support has been just absolutely incredible. As a little bit of a context, I think it's to us, like many, it started becoming clear in late February, early March that COVID-19 was going to have a major impact in the US, and we were beginning to hear growing concerns from early educators across the country about their ability to support families virtually. And we,
Yeah.
of course, have a highly accessible, evidence-based at-home learning curriculum. And importantly, as a PBC, we have the strategic flexibility to prioritize decisions based on driving impact, which is something we really like and why we oriented ourselves in that way. And so we felt like we were in a unique position to help, and our team began brainstorming what we might do to respond to the crisis. Then on, I think it was March 16th, 6 Bay Area counties, coincidentally including the one that I live in, placed shelter-in-place orders. And at that point, we kind of knew that we needed to take action. And so the next day, on a webinar that was originally intended to focus on helping Head Starts differentiate between research-based, promising research-based, and evidence-based curricula, we pivoted to our COVID-19 response, which included making the core program free for the rest of the school year. Given the urgency of prevailing conditions for families, we felt like we had to act fast and couldn't wait for organizations who pay for Ready4K. Parents don't ever pay for Ready4K, but we didn't feel like we could wait for them to get on a handle on what were rapidly changing budgetary situations. And so we made the move to launch the program for free, candidly, without much clarity on how to sustain it after the school year, but we knew we could help now, and we wanted to. The response has been absolutely inspiring, with nearly 400 organizations nationally serving over 500,000 children applying for support, which speaks not just to the tremendous need for high quality at home learning supports right now, but also, we believe, several unique characteristics of Ready4K that you mentioned earlier, but I think are merit just a little bit of reiteration. No internet access, which is a huge issue right now, and with the potential to dramatically exacerbate achievement gaps, with 12 million students lacking access to the technology needed for distance learning. Texting's nearly universally accessible, almost 100%, with a staggering 98% open rate. And then no screen time, and our activities build on family routines and are specifically designed not to overwhelm. And so these are issues I think that we're all facing. We're just hopeful that we can raise philanthropic support to continue serving parents beyond the end of the school year.
Yes, well, hopefully today we'll help you with some of those connections. Now, fortuitously, your team had been developing resources that are specifically designed to support families with trauma-informed care. You know, roughly half of all young children have experienced adverse childhood experiences, or ACEs, as they're commonly called. Folks might know it by that better. And unfortunately, all signs point to that number growing due to the current challenges families are facing. When left unaddressed, we know that these experiences have short-term and long-term negative consequences. But the hopeful news, of course, is that research shows that those trusting, nurturing, supportive, and responsive relationships with adults in their lives can mitigate the negative effects of trauma. So already Ready4K really bolstered those relationships and helped families build stronger bonds. But the trauma-informed family curriculum you've developed is designed to strengthen the protective factors, or those 5 characteristics that act to mitigate risks and buffer the effects of trauma. So parental resilience, social connections, knowledge of parenting and child development, the social and emotional competency of children, and concrete support in times of need. So I know Ready4K Trauma Informed just recently launched, but can you talk a little bit about the program and the enhancements you've made for COVID-19?
Yeah, of course. Before diving in, I do want to acknowledge your comments about the number of children experiencing ACEs. likely growing to new coronavirus stressors. During challenging times, our most vulnerable families tend to be impacted the most, and the unfortunate reality is it seems to be particularly true right now, which made the sort of launch of our support coincidentally timely. It is a program that we have been developing over the course of multiple years, working closely with community partners on the front lines of supporting families experiencing trauma in diverse rural and urban communities across the country. It also integrates the guidance of mental health experts, community health workers, parents, and providers. As you mentioned, it's a powerful extension of our core Ready4K family support model, which has a strong evidence base with multiple underlying randomized controlled trials. At the core of the program is a set of messages specifically designed to strengthen families' protective factors, but it goes pretty well beyond that. To complement these messages, we also guide partners through a community asset mapping process to create a supplemental set of text messages to link families to concrete supports in their community. Things like substance abuse recovery, violence treatment, and food, housing, and economic services. The program also includes some unique visual enhancements that are designed to increase the positive emotion and reinforce the primary message of the week. And then I guess the last thing I would say is that we made a number of COVID-19 enhancements to the program, including integrating messages on topics like hygiene and coping with pandemic anxiety and building social connections in a virtual world. It's a program that we are extremely proud to introduce. We have a unique set of tools and experiences that we're happy to bring to the national effort to address childhood trauma.
Yeah, it really is incredible that this work was already underway. Such a fantastic resource for the early childhood community and families with young children. So you alluded to it a little bit earlier, but how can folks listening today help support this amazing work that you're doing?
Yeah, thanks. I appreciate the question. We're always an important question. We're looking really for two things right now. The first is connections to Head Starts, school districts, and community, state and national early education programs whose families might benefit from receiving the core version of Ready4K free for the rest of the school year. It's clear that we're not through the situation as a country, and we want to continue to do what we can to help. But then beyond that, we're looking for $599,000 in philanthropic support to provide matching grants to organizations to cover a portion of the costs of Ready4K for 250 families and children for the upcoming 2020-21 school year. This matching support model is based on a program that we ran in the past successfully, leveraging philanthropic funds. And one of the nice things about it is that organizations do have to chip in and cover a portion of the costs as part of a long-term sustainability strategy. It also bears mentioning that it generates a nice multiplier effect on each philanthropic dollar invested. So if there are groups looking for ways, high impact ways to maximize grant dollars while serving families at home with evidence-based learning supports, please do reach out. The demand is incredible, and we need help meeting it.
Excellent. So to those in attendance today, you'll see a poll pop up on your screen that you can use to connect with Ben. Remember, the primary function of these events is to facilitate connections between folks doing meaningful work in service of young children and their families like Ben, and connect him with all of you. So if you think you can help him with his partnership goals, his expansion goals, or if you have another idea, take this next step to learn more. It is an opportunity to support that critical work of ensuring families have the much needed supports they deserve during this challenging time and beyond. So thank you, Ben. Thank you all so much for joining us today.